Bonjour Anishinaabe, Misquaniquat Indigenous, Mayan and Dundim, Kasakiswat Jimikak, Dustin Solis, Jaganashi, Moan, Indigenous. Briefly just introduce myself. I'm Dustin Solis. My Ojibwe name is Misquaniquat or the Red Cloud. I'm from the Wolf Clan, from here in Leech Lake. You know, I'm here to talk about blood quantum and why it's such a bad thing and it's going to lead to the paper genocide of our people. Because over time people are becoming less and less native, which means they can't be enrolled because they're not Indian enough, which I think is, it's not right. It's not cool. Who are you to say I am not enough Indian or you're enough Indian because of this reason or that reason when, some of the full-blooded people that I know aren't really full-blooded, but, or there's the people that were that their grandparents or great grandparents or great 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 grandparents, they got with the black guy because that did happen. That was common back then, you know, and so not everybody's really native. It just depends on the test that they administered, or if it was a native administering the test, or a white government official, or if they're pro-native or anti-native. It all depends on the guy issuing the um, Indianness test. And the more Indian the new term nowadays is like it's pretty bogus because I know some people that they prefer more native than less native people. I guess you could say. They judge everybody on how much Indian you are, and it's wrong. And if you're not enough Indian to be enrolled, and I know a few people that aren't, but they know quite a bit about our culture. It's like, well, how come they can't be enrolled, but they know more than a lot of people that are enrolled? So 25% or more, that can be completely made under 25% over a series of not very many years, I guess. Well, over what, 4 or 5 generations, I think it was, from the time it was put in place till now. And without it, the government doesn't have to validate our treaties and the things that we take for granted and we enjoy, like our wild rice harvesting, our fishing, our hunting. Future generations can't enjoy that. And lineal descent makes sense because that means you keep your tribe alive for as long as people have kids, and as far as I know, everybody's going to have kids forever, regardless. So that being said, when they can't be enrolled, what are they going to do? Some people don't find it a problem now, but when their kids can't be enrolled, they're like, damn, that's a problem. Well, yeah, because then that means nobody's around to uphold what we're doing to make this world a better place. And each tribe has the power to change that on themselves. Everybody wants to say, well, MCT has to come to agreement. No, every tribe has their own sovereignty and their own right to govern their own people and their members. So if they say, oh, we want to switch to lineal descent, we can switch it to lineal descent. It's all about your tribal council. Most per cap tribes, no offense to those that get one, but they're pretty anti, blood quantum. They're pretty pro blood quantum because it keeps their enrollment down, and therefore it keeps them from having to get a smaller and smaller per cap. And nobody has noticed, I guess, that as your enrollment list gets shorter, your per cap gets bigger. Which is also means there's less members. The reason why they don't do it a vote of people for MCT is because White Earth alone holds like over 50%. That's why they don't get a per cap. Leech Lake is coming in second with like a good 25%, and I think it's not right because Turtle Mountain, as long as you got a drop of Turtle Mountain in you and you got other native blood, you're good. As long as it's over a quarter. Navajo people want you to be a quarter. It should be lineal descent. That way, everybody can always be enrolled and you always have members and you don't got to worry about, breeding the Indian out of you. Because as long as you got a drop of Indian in you, I'd say you're a native, regardless of what you want to believe, what you want to say. That's just how it is. Because how can you say this person's a better Indian than that person because they're more native? My dad tried to say personal experience. If he had one kid that had more native in him than the others, he'd love that one more. That you also create that conflict between families. This kid's more native than that kid. This kid's blah 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 blah. According to my dad, it had to do with blood memory, whatever that is. Evidently we're supposed to just remember stuff because it's in our DNA, but I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. I just thought it was really dumb and disagreed with him and don't talk to him no more. Because if you could say something like that, then you're no better than the white guy. If you think because this guy's more Indian than you, he's better than you, or that person's less Indian than me, he's not as good as me. It's like then you're really honestly just no better than a white guy and the same thing as him because that's what he thinks. But according to the U.S. government, the only good Indian is a dead one. So I congratulate everybody in class today for being a good Indian. Meet you.